Today we're going to put the wheels and the axles into our car. So we got to do a couple steps. The first step, what we're going to do is we're going to have to re-drill our axle holes in our car just to make sure that when we added paint and everything to that, we didn't clog them all up. So what you're going to need is you're going to need obviously your car, you're going to need a scrap piece of wood, you're going to need a drill, and you're going to need a 3/16 inch drill bit. So what we're going to do is you'll put the drill bit in the drill. Make sure you get it in straight and tight. To get it in, you got to make sure you tighten this up. It's a two-handed chuck here. Hold the bottom, tighten that up, and then simply put your car on the scrap piece of wood, and then just drill in to the car. Don't worry about it. You're not going to drill another hole because it's going to follow the hole that already exists. So you just drill it through and just move it back and forth a couple spots just to clear it out a little bit so you can get the stuff in there that we need to get in there. So now you can put the drill off to the side. You can put your scrap piece off to the side, and then what you're going to need next, along with your car, is you're going to have a baggie of parts. Okay, in that bag of parts, you're going to have to take an inventory. What you need in this inventory are these things. You need 2 large back wheels. You need 2 front wheels that are thinner than the back wheels. You will have 2 axles. One axle is going to be about 1/4 inch shorter than the other axle. The shorter axle goes to the smaller wheels. The larger axle goes to the bigger, longer wheels. You will also in here get a straw, and you're going to get some really small parts. And I'm going to try to get them all out here, but you're going to have in this baggie, and you want to inventory this to make sure you have all the parts you need, and you're going to have 4 little brass washers. So you have 4 of those, and you're going to have 2 little eye screws. Okay, 2 little eye screws, and that's the parts that you're going to need in your baggie. What you're also going to need to get is a scissors, okay, and a push pin. Okay, and that'll come later. So the first thing that we're going to do to get this set up and in your car is we got to put our axle bearings in. Our axle bearing is the straw. So what you're going to do, you're going to take the straw and you're going to push it through the axle hole, okay? And then once you get it through the axle hole, you're going to make sure that it comes through, and then you're just going to put your finger on one side, just like so, just to push it tight there. You're going to take the scissors and you're going to get as close to the car as possible, and you're going to cut that. Okay. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to take an axle, push that straw out just a little bit, because when you cut to the side, it may be just hanging over the edge of the car just a little bit. And what you're going to want to do is just trim that another little bit shorter, so that when you put that in here, you don't feel the straw coming out on either side of the car. You do the same thing then with the other part of the straw you've just cut off with the other set of wheels. Same concept. Put it there, cut it, and then push it through so that you can take this out and just trim it just a little bit farther, and then slide it in. Now you have your axle bearings in. The straws are in. So whatever little piece of straw left, that can get thrown away. So with that, now we can assemble our axles and our tires or wheels. So the first thing you want to do is take the axle. So remember, long axle to the big tires, shorter axle to the smaller tires. And what I'll do is I take this and just kind of slide it in. Don't have to push it all the way in, but just slide it in. Take a washer, put a washer on the axle. Once you have the washer on the axle, then you take it and slide it through. And the back tire or the big tires go in the rear of the car. So make sure it's in the rear of the car, and also make sure when you do this that you don't accidentally push the straw out and then lose the straw. Okay. Then you take another washer, slide that washer on to the axle, take your other wheel, and then slide that wheel onto the axle. What you're going to do then is you're going to not want it so tight that your car doesn't want to move. So you're going to want to have those wheels a little bit, and then just make sure that your car spins like that on the axle. Okay? Do the same thing for the front wheels in this case. Okay? So I put that in there, take my washer, put my washer on, run my washer through my front wheel. Again, make sure you don't push the straw all the way through. Take my other washer, put that on, and take my wheel and put that on. Sometimes you may have to hold it like this here, interlock your fingers, take your palms and just kind of push it in together to get it a little tighter, and then you just kind of pull them apart by twisting just slightly. And then you do the same thing here where you can spin your car on the wheels, and then you know your wheels are set up correctly. The next thing you need to do, and this is a very important part, because as you put your little eye hooks, these eye hooks for the car allow us to have the car go straight down from the start fit line to the finish line. We run a fish line through these that are connected on each end of the track. If we wouldn't do that, we wouldn't know where our car would end up and which way it would go. So we're going to have these in. We're going to have these in a precise place. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your car and you're going to look. I need to be on the lowest part of my car. So in other words, if my car is sitting like this, the lowest part of the car, under here and over here. I need to be on the lowest part of the car, and so I'm over here somewhere and I'm over here somewhere. What I also don't want to be is I do not want to be directly in line and over the axle. So I want to be either to the front of the axle on the lowest part of the car or the back of the axle on the lowest part of the car on both of these. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that push pin that we had, and as close to center between your wheels as possible in your car, you're going to make a spot, and you're going to be behind or in front of the axle, and you're going to take that push pin and you're going to push that into the car. This is our pre-drilling of the hole so we can put our little eye screws in. So I put it in there, and then I can do the same thing up here. And just because you put it in the back of one doesn't mean you have to put it in the back of the other. Okay? Then I can take my eye hook, it has a little threaded end on it, and you just put it in that hole, and you just start to twist as you're pushing. Okay? You just start to twist as you're pushing, and you twist it in. And as you continue to twist, it's going to go down into the car. And what you're going to want to do is, as you are twisting it into the car, you want to make sure it gets far enough down into your car. So if you have a hard time doing that, you may want to take a pliers to grab and twist it some more. Okay? And what we want to do is we want to make sure that that bottom of the eye hook is penetrating into the car. Okay, we don't want it left out, and I'll show you what I mean when we say don't want it left out. So I'm going to do the one here also. Okay, and again, it's just a matter of screwing it in. And the reason we don't want this over the axle, or right above the axle, is as you screw this in, you screw it in the axle hole and it binds up against the axle and it won't allow your car to spin. Also, we need them on the lowest points of the car, because if you put it on a higher point, the fish line is going to rub along the car and will act as a braking system. We don't want that to happen either. So now, as I look at this, or as I show you this one, okay, hopefully you can see that here. This eye hook isn't all the way in. Okay, this eye hook has a little bit of stem left. So we want to put that in till that bottom of that eye hook is actually digging into the car. Okay, and then you're going to turn it just so you got that. Then you want the eye hooks to be looking right down the car so you can see through the eye hooks from front to back. And once you have that done, your car is actually with axles and eye hooks already all set. I would suggest not to leave the car sitting on its wheels. If the tables or whatever is uneven, it may roll. And so that, do not play Hot Wheels with the car as you do this, because you always have that possibility that someone doesn't know you're rolling your car on the floor or something like that and step on it. If it falls off the table, it may fall and break. So we don't want to do that. So my suggestion is kind of, when you're setting it, just set it upside down so it doesn't accidentally roll away or anything like that. So with that, after you have completed all that, make sure our baggie that we came in here gets put away in its proper location. There's a place that we put those. Any garbage gets put away, tools and things that you use, the drill, everything like that gets put away, and you are complete with putting your axles and eye hooks on your car.